России живет более 180 народов. 100 национальных языков имеют свою письменность, а 59 являются литературными. Некоторые представители национальных литератур широко известны. Их произведения переведены как на русский, так и на многие другие языки. Но есть и те, кого мы не знаем или знаем мало. Наша цель, чтобы произведения всех авторов, представляющих различные народы России, были услышаны. Сегодня по всей России продолжают создаваться как художественные, так и публицистические тексты. Их жанровое и стилевое разнообразие поразительно. От развития фольклорной традиции и литературы реализма до постмодернизма и рэп-поэзии. Мы создали портал национальных литератур, на котором собираются произведения, написанные на 59 литературных языках. На портале представлены тексты, переводы, биографии авторов и справки о литературных языках. На портале возможен поиск по языкам, по жанрам, по авторам и по интерактивной карте, на которой представлены разные регионы России. Этот портал призван показать не только литературное и языковое разнообразие, но и культурное и религиозное, поскольку в России живут как христиане, так и мусульмане, буддисты и даже шаманисты. Мы организуем различные мероприятия, форумы переводчиков, встречи с читателями и авторами по программе «Родная книга», которая проходит в регионах, а также фестивали национальных литератур. Например, в ноябре прошлого года мы провели 4-й фестиваль национальных литератур народов России в Новосибирске. Проект начал свою активную деятельность с 2016 года. С того времени мы провели стартовые мероприятия в рамках Московской международной книжной выставки «Ярмарки». Затем устраивали фестивали в Пятигорске, в Казани и Нижнем Новгороде. Собиралось свыше 100 участников, говорящих более чем на 40 национальных языках. Литературное творчество связано с общей культурной средой, поэтому мы приглашаем национальных музыкантов, драматургов и режиссеров, блогеров и языковых активистов, издателей и других деятелей культуры. Словом, всех тех, кто поддерживает и демонстрирует культурные достижения, связанные с сохранением языковой и национальной традиции. Весь труд авторов, переводчиков, филологов, лингвистов, библиографов, подвижников вышли антологии современной поэзии, прозы, детской литературы, подготовлена к изданию антология национальной драматургии. В антологии поэзии тексты опубликованы на 57 языках оригиналов с параллельным переводом на русский язык. Эта антология стала самым многоязычным изданием в России за всю историю и была удостоена 3 гран-при на российских и международных книжных выставках. В антологии прозы представлены переводы с 50 национальных языков, в антологии детской литературы с 55. Мы бережно храним языки своих предков, и литература помогает нам показать все их богатство. Благодаря русскому языку мы понимаем художественное слово друг друга. Как главный редактор проекта я отвечаю за его литературно-художественную, переводческую и экспертную части. Наш проект создан для того, чтобы каждый язык был заметной частью нашей общей культуры. Языковое многообразие – достояние и гордость нашей страны. Добрый день. Здравствуйте.
Good afternoon, good morning. Hello, everybody. I'm Maxim Amelin. I'm editor-in-chief of the program of Anthology and National Literatures of Russian Federation. And we are going to discuss this project today. This is a program that exists now. It is effective and efficient, and this is the program in support of national literatures. It was established in 2016 after the Year of Literature held in Russia, and its origin it came from people's initiative. As you may know, we have quite a number of national languages and national literatures in Russia. And there are about 60 of them which are alive and very active. So the communication between the national writers to the national and Russian languages was quite difficult. So this project was created to enable the national writers to get access to the Russian language, which is an international language. It has a lot of speakers, people who know it, who use it. But national language is a different story. Some of them are dealt with linguists only. Linguistics is science of about the language, and so the linguists are quite indifferent about the literative manifestations of the language. So the demand that existed from the side of the national authors, we decided to implement it, to respond to it, to make it realizable. And it all started from that I wrote a short letter to the then Federal Agency of Press and Mass Communications. It is a part of the Ministry of Digital Development. And in this letter, I wrote that it would be nice to present the national poetry in the national languages and to be translated into the Russian language, and to create such an anthology of poetry. But the federal agency decided that this will not be enough, and the project should approach the subject of literature, not only poetry, but all other genres at a broader scale. And we liked it. We liked this support. In the beginning, we didn't even know how many in Russia we had national languages that are being used for literature, as literature. Nobody could answer this question. Not the linguists, not philologists, not the special people who were involved in the segment of Russian global literature. And we received the answer empirically. At first, we thought maybe there are about 40 to 44 such languages. And then it turned out that the active languages, the languages that are being used for writing poetry, drama, children's literature, and publicist pieces. There are 60 such languages, 60 living literally languages. Further on, the development started. The project began its life. We started from the volume of poetry. It was followed by the volume of children's literature. Then it was followed by prose, drama, and now in the development, maybe in the coming month, before the end of this year, we will publish the volume dedicated to national publicist works. A lot of very different people participated in this project. Of course, these are linguists, philologists, bibliographers, and artists, and illustration artists. We decided to use the national ornaments for decoration of these books. But of course, they were not perfectly elaborated. And now we have already established 60 national ornaments that were created by a special artist, ornamentalist. So it worked the following way. Somebody sent her a photograph of a national belt with an ornament, or some slippers for home, or felt boots for winter with an ornament, or a knife with an ornament. And out of these various sources, the artist created specific for each people, specific ornaments and decorations. The only people who does not have the ornament are gypsies, Roma. But Roma are presented in these anthologies, in the poetry and prose and children's literature. And their ornaments used Indian motifs, as this is their original homeland. And then we use some artifacts with all this picturesque flowers, and it's a separate work. And of course, we send back these ornaments to the representatives of these peoples for approval. In one case, they said, well, this is not ours. This is from the neighboring people. So it was a very interesting way to communicate. The program is expanding, it is growing, it is developing, not only on the basis of anthologies. It also embraced quite a number of different events and activities. All our participants are taking active part in them. These are the forum of translators.
Ну, они раз
They are held once in 2 years. Unfortunately, only once in 2 years. This is the forum where interpreters and translators meet each other. They get together and discuss professional topics, professional issues. Besides that, besides the translation itself, they also discuss the work translating from different national languages into Russian. And there were some experimental translations made, avant-garde, and some quite complex poetry was translated from the 20th centuries, from the Silver Age. Translating these texts from Russian into national languages, it was quite interesting and fascinating. It seems to me that our modernism, not only to us, but before the 1991, not many people were aware of it, and it started appearing after that during the last 30 years, and it's still appearing. So for national literature and national languages, there were no books. And also, I would like to mention that we have meetings in the regions that is called the native book. These meetings are attended by philologists, translators, writers in different regions, different cities where national languages exist and where they are being developed. These meetings took place, for example, in Buryatia Ulан-Ude, in Karelia Republic, Petrozavodsk, in Makhachkala in Dagestan, in Kazan, Tatarstan, in Yakutsk, the Sakha Republic. These meetings give us some powerful effect and insight. As you know, Russia is a vast territory, large country indeed, and this communication that we are having, communication with writers who are 5,000 or 6,000 kilometers far from each other. You know, sometimes Paris is much closer than your fellow countrymen. So this vast territory, as you know, these vast territories and distances being overcome in this particular manner, thanks to these meetings, because we need to find our pool of literature to unite the Russian language writers, the national language writers, to unite all of them to create one universal space where they can work. I can say that we have made a lot of progress in this direction, but this experience is quite useful and fruitful. Besides that, we have annual festivals that not only doesn't only present national languages and national literature, but also some additional things are presented there. Let's say a national dance, national rap, even that. Can you imagine? So the rap that is performed in national languages, it's a story for another day, but still you can take that into account. It's a separate phenomenon to be studied. Also, we have national language activists. These advocates, mostly they deal with the peoples from the Far East, from the North. This is a very volunteer movement in itself that is quite self-dependent. It is independent from anything else, and we are trying to support them, to make them work with us. We invite them to our events, to the festival as well. They have very exciting program and videos. So these videos tell us how they. So can I make one small remark? So you were talking about the festival in Moscow, the Red Square Book Fair. We had a chat. And this program on supporting national literature is very good because it creates not only the vertical hierarchy, but also the horizontal hierarchy. These people, linguists, bibliographers, and writers, they leave the festival, they go to their regions, but still they have this chat, and we can talk to each other. For example, today, my colleagues from Dagestan are telling me that today is the day of the national language literature in Dagestan. So we started listening to each other, and now we can celebrate, for example, this holiday today. In Dagestan, they will have a series of events dedicated to this National Literature Day. And also I would like to mention that all our significant events and success and holidays that are being accumulated by our colleagues. They are put together and they are listed on our website. And you can see authors, writers on our website. All those who are included in our anthology and all those who want to take part in this project. Good morning. Maxim, can I ask you a question? Sure. My name is Olga Bogomolova. I'm a historian and I'm a theater critic, one of the experts who took part in creating the national anthology. I would like to ask you, Maxim, the history of making national languages popular. It's not something new in our sphere. In times of the Soviet Union, many leading writers and poets, they had to translate national language works to earn some money because they didn't have opportunity to earn money. So Pasternak, for example, translated Shakespeare, and there were other people. And this translation work, it made the works of wonderful poets and writers that created their works in national languages. Anthology doesn't give us something new, and it's nothing brand new that we haven't seen before that. So what is the interesting side of anthology? What is new in that? America was discovered So the anthology wasn't universal before that, and original copies were not presented next to the translations. So this is the first time the anthology shows us something new. In fact, if we talk about that, the Soviet School of Translation viewed, for example, person who translated Shakespeare. The Soviet school experts knew that you could once you would see the Shakespeare original text next to the translation text, so one copy next to the other. But after that, there were works when nobody was sure that you will see the original copy next to the translation copy. And now we had the academical approach, this time, because in anthology you can see the original text next to the translation. So this is the common European approach. Everybody knew that in this anthology we would see the original text next to the translation. So it was nothing, like no odd job. It was an experiment, but in another sense. We took the approach from the linguistic aspect, but Maxim, it was no word-by-word translation. Best writers, poets, and translators took part in this project. So the best literature forces, Russian language literature forces, took part. So it was not a word-by-word translation. By the way, these type of translation, you can see them on our portal. It's not a website, by the way, it's a portal. And so you can see this lineal translation there, word for word translation. There are great masses of literature there. We need something done so that the writers can read their works right there. But word-for-word translations are present there. And it was our idea to present it there, to show it to everyone on our portal. For example, if somebody wishes to make his own translation, so we want this portal, first of all, to not only to propagate, but also to give motivation to young people. Maxim, sorry that I interrupt you one more time. I would like to say that this project is the first in 30 years that enabled the translators from the national languages to take part in such a great common work. And according to the results of this project, it started in 2016, so it has been going on for 5 years. New translators emerged. And now we have people who maybe before this project would have never thought of doing that. Also, I'd like to say that I offered this job to our best poets, but many of them got offended, and they refused to take part in this project. But after that, they got offended because they told me that I hadn't explained the the project in detail. That's why they refused. I offered this job to everybody. I offered many people to take part in this project, but they have a different discipline in Europe. They translate. This is something obligatory for them, lineal translation, and to also they want to show the rhythmics of every work.
We even created special guidelines for how to translate. Yes, of course, there is guidelines for word-for-word translation, line-for-line translation, translation of the meaning. And of course, nobody can know 60 languages, but at least we should have certain understanding of the language, have a certain idea of the language, so you get into a cultural massif. If you get into the culture of some people or ethnic group, you gain some knowledge. Yes, Kanta. Please excuse me for interrupting. Just a couple of words. Yes, go ahead. I would like to add a few ideas to your answer, Olga. The time of the Soviet Union and modern Russia, very different approaches to national literatures. And in this respect, I believe that this project is unique because even in the Soviet Union, we didn't have the project of that scale. Though in the Soviet Union, under the Soviet Union, we had translations from national languages. And quite often, a national poet could say that it was the Russian translators who made a great, well-known poet out of him. Rasul Gamzatov is an example here, and I quote his words. And of course, we had very good translators at this day. And in the Soviet Union, the royalties of the translators were exactly the same that of the poets and writers. Yes, of course, we can discuss the personality of Pasternak, who also was involved in the translator business. I'm a writer myself, and I would say that the year 2015 was a very important year for us. Grigoriev, Vladimir, and you, Maxim, did a lot of work to change the situation for the better. The year of the literature was very important for us. Okay, this is the book. I was the editor of this volume named Prose. In its content and its makeup, it's a unique book because we feel the warmth of our hearts in creation of this book. Before we had vertical connections, it was Moscow and Grozny, the capital of Chechen Republic. But thanks to this project, we learned a lot of Buryat, Yakut, Roma people, writers, and I think it's a very good endeavor. And I hope we will continue with these efforts. It's not that the work is not done for doing it, reporting it, and putting on the shelf. I think it should be continuing. It should be developed on the ongoing basis, and we could see some new authors, both in prose, in poetry, in drama, and I think the plays for theaters should be published by the central publishing houses. Russia is a big country. It's a great country. It is a rich country, and our richness is on our languages and cultures. We have over 200 nationalities and ethnic groups. And when you described the situation back in 16, you didn't even know how many languages would be in this project, 40, 44, and it turned out to be 60. Thank you, Maxim, for your efforts. Thank you. Thank you, Kanta.
Я думаю, может быть, мы еще, Максим,
Maybe, Maxim, if, excuse me for interrupting. Kanta said it very rightly. The year 2015, the year of literature in Russia, I think the organizing committee is worth mentioning. It has been transformed into the organizing committee for support of book printing and support of reading in Russia. No doubt, no doubt. To solve the problem of distances and remoteness on our vast territory, remoteness of the languages, and the languages in different regions, without the support of the state, of the government agencies, will simply be impossible. Because sometimes you don't even have a connection to, let's say, Chukotka Peninsula. I remember flying there, and I was told, and I was flying to Kamchatka, and they told me, you are the first Russian poet in 30 years. Because 30 years, Evgeny Yevtushenko, the Soviet poet, visited Kamchatka. The flight was 10 hours. It's like flying to the United States. People not always understand the scope, the size of Russia. And of course, we would like this project to involve the young energy of writers, script writers, translators, drama writers. The project needs to be developed, and it needs to be renewed, updated with fresh blood. I think this is the goal that we would like to pursue. Of course, these languages exist, but this should not be a project that becomes like a stale bread. You put it on the shelf and it's not developing. To develop the project is our main purpose, our main goal. And thank you. With these optimistic words, I think we should finish this part of our Frankfurt event. Thank you.